Shujin Doda, Ranin Shini de Gambadi,
Sangeshindo Mibuayi, Tokananda, Shinla Chubarashu, Ratna Mandala Kamniyataya. What does it mean to realize emptiness by their power? As it is said, bodhisattvas do, as it is said, bodhisattvas do. Whereas hearers and solitary realizers do not. The chanjusebe ramdopki ani toni tobachi suyachora. Ramdop and yentu da range namge ramdopki toni toba yomaris siadi dini kasure tenakharesa in the sunguya. chanjusamba namje ramdopki toni toba da yeranda dachuma namje ramdopki toni matobach.
Chanjusamba de chanjusamba ambo nombo yinzang ani ribinamra riba mambo la tena toni toba la yinzang ramdopchi toba sikiwaresi.
Usually it is said so because bodhisattvas of a high mental caliber, like very, very sharp, very, very intelligent, then due to utilizing a whole lot of reasonings, then they are able to realize emptiness by their power.
Ani nyeran dunzo ambo tuwa yenzang ani ramdopchi ribinamra mambo sammituba.
And the hearer, Shravakas and Pratyakas, in comparison to the very sharp bodhisattvas, then their intelligence is a little bit lesser and are not able to reflect on emptiness, utilizing the variety of reasonings the way the bodhisattvas do, the highly intelligent bodhisattvas do. And so therefore we say they are not able to realize emptiness by their own power like the bodhisattvas do. It's a matter of the difference of the intelligence that allows them to use a whole lot of reasonings that way. Why are some Chittamatrins listed as those who do not fall to either the extreme of samsara or nirvana, and others are listed as those who fall into the extreme of nirvana because they are proud of their erroneous view of emptiness. Samsamba kashe kasure sishini ki thala malungche samsamba rikchi yang samsam rikchi shivethala list those who samsam rikchi yang shivethala sumba je kashansna khonsu di kransu da toni ki tawa da kasu di norche towa dilia da ngakegi zimbe logi topki and shivethala sumba yoresia junze khares. What is the difference in these two groups of Chittamatrins? That is, samsamba rikchi kaso sishi nika ki thala malunga chiyan, samsam rikchi tawa ki tone anya shive thala lunga chishegorwa. The shagwa kimsa khares.
Samsamba la kaso re sishi nika thalunga la.
Malungwa. Sishinika ki thala malung. Yang samsamba korane nangsine rikchi yang shive thala lunga yoris tawa ki nontu tone.
That samsamba la sishi thal.
Ngakegi top.
Siba kowi sibi thal malungwa sina. Sibi thal malungwa la siba sida goje ki lode gogware. Sibi thal lunga goya. Sibi thal goya di. Goje ki lode samsamba koran liwa mare. Ra tawa tatu samsamba tanju tawa maje bado rang chumda ki ani sibi thal lunga goje ki lochi shagu warade ko sibe talunga gocheki kasor tawangwe mare ra inza samsamba sibe tal hungor mado malunga yo mare
Usually we say that, Chittamartins do fall into the extreme of samsara. There's no such thing as Chittamartins who do not fall into the extreme of, samsara. Why is that? It's because not to be categorized as someone who has fallen into the extreme of samsara means that you have to have generated the mindset that brings forth the cessation of such an existence. And so it is only in the Prasangika Madhyamika system that you are able to generate that kind of mindset that brings forth the cessation of existence in samsara, because basically all tenets do sort of propound a type of mind that will bring forth the cessation of samsaric existence, but the one that actually does so is only the Prasangika system. So as Chittamartins, you would have said that you have fallen into the extreme of samsara. So there are Chittamartins who have not fallen into the extreme of nirvana. Why would we say that there are Chittamartins who have not fallen into the extreme of nirvana? Is because what brings the cessation of extreme of nirvana is great compassion. Because there are Chittamartins who have generated the minds of great compassion and bodhicitta who bring forth the cessation of the extreme of nirvana. So what does it mean to say that you have not fallen into the extreme of peace or nirvana? Is you no longer that you're free of the thought, seeking one's own individual liberation. So, like when we take the example, Lama Atisha's teacher, Selingpa, who was a proponent of the Chittamartin view, and Lama Atisha himself was a proponent of the Madhyamika view. So, from the point of view of philosophical viewpoints, then Lama Atisha held a higher philosophical viewpoint in comparison to his teacher Selingpa, but based on the instructions of of his guru Selingpa, then which was instrumental for generating great compassion and bodhicitta. So Lama Atisha, regarded his teacher, Selingpa, as one of his foremost teachers, and so. So you can say that an example like Lama Selingpa then has fallen into the extreme of samsara. So in the later part of the text there will be more explanations with regards to what is the extreme of samsara and nirvana and what it means falling into that extreme. The first group of people are said to be hostile to the Mahayana Dharma. That implies that they have heard of it. It seems to me this group of people is more like secular people who have no interest in religion and may never have even heard of Buddhism, let alone Mahayana. Please explain more about the first group. Tanda Tekshin Chola Tebochin Chola Dawe Michi Shagorwa. The Ditawe Rick Dinsu, that in the Chi Shananduka, Cransum Chevre Chinat, Mikia in the Kasheta Yorwa, Consul Tekshin Chola Tawakiate, Chut turn it Tawa. Tekshin Chola Dawa Tambo Chat, Shedanda, Tambo Chat. And the Consul Tekshin Chola Tambucha de the Hasure, taking to Tony Tambucha, Hakovani, Tambucha. Hamawayan Tambuchas Yamara, Hakover. It seems that Dinde Kasura, Dinde in the teaching to good to Hakoni and Tambucha Jora. That could Dinde mirror Mika in the Resha and Mika in the injuries, Chula in the Castonatan Meva in the injuries. Chun Tona Marriage and Chick Chanada Ponzo number Chusia the Quay Jumares. My table Chupashani, number Chusia the Quay Jumares, and D call a Didawe Ricjora, table Chumbichella, Tambuchini Rick del Gol Chicksurunas.
And then D Tibachimbichella Tama Singadi, Hezamari, Tibachimbiche Segana, unattended the 가소래 지당 치료와 디바침보다 남바쳐 캐면에게 가사가 다도 주바 캐리게 드려야 요아래 솔직히는 니 디바침보 산제지 감미던가 와 디바침보 신겐데 좀 된대지 송 말해스 좀 된대지 송데 팀에지 다 디바 멤버라 송와기다 최대 바시레스 인산 좀 된지 까마래 좀 된지 까마인 바라 까래 전에 안에 들어치고 돼야잖아 난좀 된지 까마인 바인자 뒤 당시 치고 와래 와 까매 봤던 게 꼭다래抓다래 시지 가사 가시고抓다래 마서 좀 된지 최승아 되라 아니 팀명이 최대마도 수요 말이
So in the case of these, when we're talking about this group of people that are very hostile towards the Mahayana Dharma, is usually from the perspective of what their view of Dharma is only what only the Hinayana teachings of the Buddha is what they accept as the teachings of the Buddha. So anything outside of the Hinayana teachings, they do not accept as the teachings of Buddha. So for them, for somebody to say that the Mahayana teachings are the teachings of Buddha, it makes them very hostile about it, because this someone's speculation, and then because from their point of view, it's only the Hinayana teachings is what constitutes the teachings of Buddha. So they're feeling hostile about it as that someone is saying something that which is not the teachings of Buddha, sort of promoting it as pushing it as a teachings of Buddha is what makes them hostile towards them. It is in that context that they are hostile about it, because and
oh yeah. 다타주 가서래 지시시비 추구스나 추구 전이 최제 장이 바로도 침바인데 다 추구스나 이렇게 임바 가서래 추구들은 이요아래 성원유구다 시 추구스니 다 대란 지당 추구 코란 게 아니 도반에 샤거래 추구 지당 받스 거래.
So earlier we were talking about the Dhammakaya of the Tathagatas, which is the perfection of the purity, and this perfection of purity then is the Swabhavakaya holy body of the Buddha, the essential body of the Buddha, and the Buddha's body of nature self, and then the Jnana Dhammakaya, the transcendental wisdom Dhammakaya. So.
Oh yeah, and 윤전고라 랑시지 타비치당 녀모비 파차사바바미 칠세데 다주시와나신샤니 랑시가 팀에 레바마슈바 인장 타비치당 녀모비 파차스나 아네루부지 팀에 Tima, Yombe Pacha, Separ Pangwa Yizang, and a Zang Padu Chibare.
So, what is the reasoning for, for these, for the Dharmakaya to be the perfection of purity? Is because it is free from the natural defilements. It is completely free from natural defilements, and it is also free from all the advantageous defilements that they have the abandonment of total abandonment of having exhausted the imprints of the afflictions.
Oh yeah, that teaches da 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 me drova da nyawa shive tambe da stawatela da 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 me drova da nyawa shive tambe da.
So what is completed from the text is the Dharmakaya is purity, since its nature is pure, and even the remaining imprints are fully removed. And the next line is, it is true self, since all conceptual elaboration in terms of self and non-self is totally stilled.
That 다시나시 치우 대시시비 치주고대 담바 다그 파도로 침바 장대 다다시가 나게 다그 파도로 침바지 인데 인바데 가르에서나 무디베 따위에 가사게다 다다치라 완전도 추바다 란자 뒤비 자유그 다다 다음에 덴바 추비 아니 저와 타다 매바 어느 것좀 더 도싱 라 다단다 돈용 것좀 더 도싱 다음에라 되지 이난 그 저와 나를 미중 위치도 다음에라 되지 이난 그 저와 나를 미중 위치도 녀라 시베 안에 차비쳤어 아 다음에라 되지 이난 그 저와 양 나를 미중 위치도 녀라 시베 차비쳤어
What this refers to is that that the Dhammakaya that the Dhammakaya of the Tathagatas then has like previously, which is the perfection of purity, then is the perfection of the self in this with regards to all of the viewpoints of like the viewpoints of the Titikas that hold on to the existence of a person or a phenomena that which is a person which is permanent, single, independent, or a person a person that exists that exists self-sufficiently, substantially. So free from all such elaborations of free from such all such conceptual elaborations of the self, truly existent self like that, and having the direct realization of the emptiness, then having that realization of selflessness, which is totally free of duality, that will totally free of the duality that will never arise again, and so on. The Nirvana, and so this is the total in the total pacification. That which is achieved then is in respect to this view of realization of selfless, the direct realization of emptiness, which is free from duality, that will not arise again. So is the total being totally stilled, or the pacification refers to this.
Oh yeah. 당매라 되되 이난 그 저와 날 미중이 추진냐와 시와 세가라 남매라 되비 이난 그 저와서 배나 산제기 티시시바기 아니 티시 산제기 규지 아니 돈이 춘용 것음도 도비 이시대 남매라 되되 이난 그 저와 냐와 시와 세대 고야대 카르레서나 돈이라 이난누비 로잉.
So what where you do not have dual view in relation to selflessness. So what that example of that would be like the mental continuum of a Buddha that has the realization of emptiness, that has the realization of the Dhammadhatu, the ultimate sphere of reality, then does not have that kind of dual view.
Oh, either Namela did in and draw alarm, Mitsubishi Shiva Yang, Jitan in and draw Shiva Revesana, Mari. Qualan Yisuna Yoa, Gunzo Gunawa Yoa, Yudan Yuja Tadabinawa Yoa, Kasanga Nina de la Sumcha Yoa, Yuda Yuja Tadabinawa, Ani Gunzo Gunawa, Ani Dindugunawa, Chani Sum, Nina Nup said la Sum Chayoa.
So, having no dual view in relation to emptiness, meaning, in a way in which it does not arise. And generally, in a general, it doesn't mean generally that, in a general context, it doesn't mean that all duality has been subsided. It doesn't mean that, because you see, as explained before, when we talk about duality, then there are three different types of duality. The duality of subject and object, the duality of conventional existence, and the duality of the appearance of true existence. So you have those types of duality.
Oh yeah, that Tony Lanina Nuba said, and Tony Sibi Sin water, and then now Sunga Meba Inzang. So
when we talk about, where duality has totally been stilled or, shut out in relation to selflessness or emptiness, because, or in relation to emptiness, in the perception of an exalted knower, perceiving emptiness, all duality has been pacified, all duality has been stilled in that, in the view of that exalted knower.
Oh yeah, that Tijela, Cousin, Ijiranshi Pumbotan, Teju Logi Devani, Ijiranshi Pumbotan, Teju Logi Devani. Oh, Tigi, that Devani Paro Chimba Inde. That Ijiranshi Pumbos and Tajun, Hondo Shag and Aranzo. Ani Tasalene Chaju Sambada, Nieran Dajumba Teta. Maripaja Gisada Same Gilela Devi Ijirashi Pumbo de Rao. O in the one is Paro de Chumba Inde, Nemo Manjam Mayimbi Maripadang. Same Gileji Gibi Ijirashi Pumbodang. T. Ju, and Maripaja Gisata. Any less Sebar Bami Suji Lobster. Loba in that Devi Paro Chumbare.
So what is, what is the perfection of happiness or perfection of bliss? Then it is true happiness, since even the aggregates of mental nature and their causes are reversed. So, that refers to the pure bodhisattva bhumis. Those that have attained Tasala Neve, the Chanjusa Niranda, Marisagi, Igran Shinki, Igran Shinki Pumbo.
Nimonja Maimbi Maripadang, Ani Samegi Legi Jebi Ijirashi Pumbodang.
Samegi Legi
Jebi Ijirashi Pumbodang.
So that refers to the aggregates of a mental nature of the bodhisattvas or the shravakas or prativikas on the pure bhumis, Pure bhumis means the 8, 9, and 10 grounds on which you have the imprints of the ignorance. Those and then the aggregates of our mental nature that has been generated due to uncontaminated karma, that arise out of non-afflicted nyomonchen mayimbe
마르바당 아니 사메기 레지 제비 이지랑식 풍보
non-afflicted afflictions marriage nyomonchen non-afflicted mayimbe
마르바당
maripa non-afflicted ignorance uncontaminated karma. So all the aggregates of our mental nature on the pure bodhisattva bhumis.
아니 사메기 레지 풍보체 아니 된다이 아니 풍보대 제제기 마르바자기 사당 레사바밤이 추지 아니 로바 인상 아니 더 답이 바로 치바니.
So because they have totally reversed themselves from the karmas that bring forth that kind of rebirth in the Maripachakisa.
마르바자기사당 사메기 레니보데 세비 추지 방와.
Because they have what constitutes the purity of the perfection of the self is when you have totally exhausted to the degree of total abandonment all the bodhisattva bhumis that carry the imprints of ignorance, having totally exhausted that, and also exhausted to the degree of totally abandoning it, all the karmas of uncontaminated karmas that bring forth, aggregates of a mental nature, having totally exhausted to the degree of abandonment these karmas and the grounds of the bhumis that bear the imprints of ignorance. Is that clear? And so that is the perfection of the self. The perfection of self, what it constitutes is when you have abandoned takpa takpe paruchimba
아니다 대화 니 파르치바 근데 디 대화가 파르치바 대화 파르치바.
It's the perfection of happiness.
대화 파르치바.
It's what constitutes the perfection of happiness or perfection of bliss when you have abandoned all those bodhisattva bhumis that bear the imprints of ignorance and uncontaminated karma.
And
then the next is the perfection. So next is the perfection of permanence. It is permanent since the cyclic existence and the state beyond pain are realized as one. So what is cyclic existence? Cyclic existence are the aggregates that are brought on by karma and delusions.
아니 님비 돕지 돕이 녀라 시비 시와텔라 냐데 스거데 녀와 시비 녀와치
through the force of the application of antidotes, when one is able to get rid of the aggregates that are brought on, induced by the previous karma and delusions, through antidotes, when one is able to get rid of it, then one has attained the peace of nirvana. So
냠바니도 또배 라 냠바니도 또배 아니 시시 타단 차와 타투바래
So when one realizes that both this samsara and nirvana are by nature empty, and in that emptiness, that both are equal, that both samsara and nirvana are equal, is what is what it means to have is what is meant by having realized that ultimate state of nirvana and samsara.
시시 타단 차와 타투비치를 세가나 시비타 시비타스나 다 올라마 되는 거를 지당 시비타 시비타스라 군조라 되디 시다당 시다 전담라 되비 시다당 아니 시다.
So you have it will be explained again more in detail later. You have the extreme of samsara and nirvana in relation to in relation to the conventional reality, and then you have the extreme of samsara and nirvana from in relation to from the perspective of the ultimate.
In the 시시 타단 차와 타투바사데 시시 타단 차와사데 전담라 되지 시다 전담라 되지 시다당 시다데라 시바데라 코와 덴바 추바 좋아 아니 전담라 되지 시다데 코이 동안 여러 시위 아니 니시 아니 덴바 추바데 아니 시다.
So free from the extreme of samsara and nirvana from an ultimate perspective is samsara being truly samsara being nirvana being truly existent, samsara being truly exist in the pacification of samsara being truly existent, the sufferings, the total pacification of the sufferings of samsaric existence being truly existent.
Oh yeah. That is
Tandamla teni.
Tandamla de sidati karerezana kwa siba kwarawa. Kwa demba truwa de tandamla de sidache.
So when samsara being truly existent is what is the extreme of samsara in relation to the ultimate truth.
Oh, that nyanda demba truwa de tandamla dobi ani sidache. That is that kondenyo de demba matruba tru demba matruba to toba tatuba inza ani 시시 타단 차와 사디 아니 전담라 되지 시시 타단 차와.
And then when one reflects on liberation as being truly existent, then that is in relation to ultimate truth. When one realizes that both samsara and nirvana do not truly exist, then one has attained the freedom from the two extremes of samsara and nirvana.
Oh yeah. Tabi paru chimba. Oh dichera. Diche. Datini. Detanda zawa ke tone ta ma jeba tu xiang ge jia ge wa de.
So this is like the meaning based on the root text.
Oh, da kan de san dini jeba ke tone ma xi ga na do tu na yu number 2 是吧？继承他就养些选那些继承让些用是他把谁的让些了提买了把马修把的钱七八级才你准备准备什么用是他把说谁的哦他就也个
七八级呢
七八级才你准备准备什么不去什么准备准备都不去什么用是他把
So then to explain this from the perspective of the commentary, then it's the general explanation is that that it is naturally pure because it is free of the contamination of any kind of intrinsic or natural defilements, and then and then the so when we talk about the perfection of purity, there are two causes for that perfection of purity. So, the general reason for it to be the perfection of purity is that it is naturally pure. And the special, the second cause, which is the special characteristic about, is that due to the application of the antidotes, then all of the temporary defilements have also been eliminated. The special characteristic being that the antidotes have completely destroyed all of the adventitious defilements. So and then with regards to the perfection of self, it is true self, the perfection, since all conceptual elaboration in terms of self and non-self is totally stilled. Like before, it has two causes, because one is free of the cling towards such a self, and non-self posited by the Titikas. So since one since one is free from such conceptual views of the Titikas, then we say that one is free from falling into the extreme of the samsara of holding such a view. The Shravakas, although they have the direct realization of selflessness, but they have fallen into the extreme of peace. What they have achieved is the mere severance of birth brought on by karma and delusions, and what they hold as the objective, goal to attain is only liberation. So if one abandons in the falling into the extreme of peace, then that is what's meant by the perfection of self, of the pure self.
다 된다고데 제비 권에 타니스 흉하다 차와 땜바레스.
So this is like from the point of view of the result, then one is free from falling into the two extremes.
담미 비권에 타니스 자위 군산의 가르레에서나 담미 봐 아니 가소래 당이 그 저와다 차와 다음에 봐니 또지 잡아 아니 미비권에 저와다 차와 라신지 그 저와다 차와 다음에 비 저와다 차와니 다음에 봐 다음에 니다 라신지 마 주바 또와 오 다음에 니 가사게 다음에 다 체지 다음에 니워데 라신지 마 주바 또와 미비권에 저와다 차와 미비 저와 나도 주바 시대 다음에 봐 또와
So when one realizes the non-inherent existence of the true self, the self of a person and self of phenomenon, then one is free from the conceptual elaboration of the object.
이다 남에라 때디 이난 누비 아니 도수지 저와다 차와 세대 다시 시와 나신시 다음에라 때디 이난 누바레 스르가라 다음에 무슨도 도비 이些인장 그 다음에 세비 생오나 아니 이난 매봐.
So like how it was explained before, because of the realization of selflessness, being free of the duality, because when one is realizing selflessness directly, in the view or in the vision, in the view of such a knower, then there is no duality.
나 뒤제라 단다지 내위 바로 첨바데 안샤야 되라 가서래 일제랑신 풍보다 대주로지 대화니 세대 샤야 되라 난데 두니도 소도와 좋아 유나반이지 대화 시와데 주반이가라 되되세 녀모비 주바다 시지 주반이가라 되위 동아다 군중에 나바탐제 빠베스 다 녀모보다 시지 주반이가라 되위 세가라 다중이야게 코르께와 렌주기 땡데야라 중이 지당 렌이 왕기 아니 말을 바자게 살아 때네 중이 아니 땡데야라 중이 지기 이와 오 대니기라 리바니가라 때위 동아 군중이 남바 탐제 빵배 아니 말을 바이 렌다 치마 참 좋아 말을 바자게 살아 때네 아니 렌다 치마 참 좋이 치마 참 좋이 바자게 참조와 빵위칠 다 개와 치마 야 른다 치마 참조와 대 빵위칠.
And then it is true happiness since even the aggregates of mental nature and their causes are reversed. So the perfection of bliss, of perfection of happiness, and so on. There are two causes that that bring forth the result of the that bring forth this result of the perfection of bliss, of perfection of happiness, when one is free of the two types of obscurations, the obscuration of afflictions and the obscuration to knowledge, to omniscience. So these obscurations that enable us to get rid of true suffering, true origin, like as explained this morning. Then you have the 12 links that cause or sustain cyclic existence, and the 12 links attributed to the the grounds of the Bodhisattva, the bhumis that have the imprints of the ignorance. So the 12 links that are associated with these. So when one abandons both of these 12 links, 12 links that are of the from the obscuration of delusions, and the and the 12 links that are attributed to the the bhumis that have the imprints of ignorance. When one when one abandons this, then this ignorance no longer has a later continuum. It doesn't have a when one cuts off these 12 links, the continuum, then that ignorance no longer has a way of conjoining itself to a later rebirth.
Oh yeah, and
so in this way, you totally seize, these aggregates of a mental nature, and so this is what constitutes the perfection of bliss or happiness.
다들 답이파로 지금 코와타네 양한다 양반이도 또 치러 스타다 다야게 전화 신천이 코와다 양한다와 양반이도 또 치러 써야 되게 다들라 가서래 뭐지 된다라 두 성구도 와 다시 시와 나신천이 아니 스시 탈송화되라 군조라 되비 스시 타이노와 송환이
So then it is permanence and cyclic existence and the state beyond pain are realized as one. So the perfection of permanence, which relates to our realization of the equality of samsara and nirvana. The actual meaning is that you have. With regards to what is the extreme of samsara and nirvana, you have the from a conventional perspective what is regarded as the extreme of samsara and nirvana, and from an ultimate perspective then you have the extreme of what is samsara and nirvana.
Oh, that digi kasore ni yebe nane lenyu ji wangi yase sima ninzam jowi gewa 인점 줘가 거기 탈송 많이 인점 줘봐다 깨와대라 타지도 torcha 제바디 스비 탈송 많이 말해.
So when under the control of afflictions and action karma, then when we have continual a rebirth, conjoined rebirths, like rebirths, then that concept of rebirth again like that, then that is the falling into the extreme of samsara.
Oh, 타질 뚱하다. 타 대가바래니 왕기 아니 가서래 깨와라 타지지 도자 제바데 가바잠도 마세. 내니 왕기 깨와데 가바잠도 마세. 모람다 인지 왕기 깨와래봐야 고배 아니 거의 깨와다 코아리 깨와잠 가자 따와디 거의 탈송하래.
Not only seeking to abandon and stop rebirth in samsara due to due to karma and delusions, but even seeking to stop rebirth through the power of prayer and compassion, is looking at it as something to be refuted or negated.
내니기 개와 체점라 톱이 다주시와나시 아니 냥대디 시위타체 대텐도니와디 아니 시위타송와.
So and when one sees liberation, liberation from samsara as the goal of the objective, then that is falling into the extreme of nirvana or peace. So this is the extreme of samsara and nirvana. This is what it means to be in the category of the extreme of samsara and nirvana on a conventional level. So being from a conventional perspective, then this is what it means to have fallen into the extreme of samsara and nirvana.
That Jun Shuana Shin, Konde Niji, say, Koada, Yande Niji, Koa de Banja Deba Truvada, Yande de Lanja Deba Truva, Andi, Landa de Lanja Deba Truva de, Ani, Tandala to be Sishi Tache.
If one looks upon samsara and nirvana, samsara to be a truly existent object of abandonment, and nirvana as a truly existent object of attainment, or to be adopted, then this is the extreme of samsara and nirvana from an ultimate perspective.
Konde, Hotel, Yande, Ane Kasare, Yande Dembar Shabadang, Ane Koa, Dembar Shab, Koa de Casa Lang, Banja Demba Shambadang, Ani Yande de Lanja Demba Shambadi, Ane Tandam la Devi Sishi Tahunwa.
So, clinging to a truly existent, samsara to be abandoned, and clinging on to a truly existent nirvana to be adopted and, attained, is falling into the extreme of samsara and nirvana from an ultimate perspective.
Oh, that is easy to you good, and it turned them like the core, Midaba, Ranshinji Trubas, and Banja Dobi Tuchi. Then you match. Turned them like the core, Midaba, Ranshinji Trubade, Satu Banja Dobi Tuchi, Midribe, Mani Midribas and Midribas and Milubembe, Chebitan Milumata. Turned them like the Banja Demba Truvatana. I know Kovita Hungura, and the Demba Truatana, Tandala Didi, and it's Chebita Hunga in town. Oh, Sadu Banja Dobi, Tendra, what the Banja Dobi, Tsuji, Mitribe, and a casa, Mitimba.
Game Mount House. This is a Tishinship Chugudi.
Oh, Tandamla de Koa, Rawa Mitabarashi, Truba, Sadu Banja Dobi, Tsuji.
Koa Mitaba.
Tandamla de Koa Mitaba, Demba Trubas. Demba Truba, the Satu Banja Dobi Tsuji.
Tundas Akasore. Tundadi?
Tundamla de Koa Mitabati, Demba Trubadi, Koa Mitaba, Demba Truba Marava, Demba Trubadi, Banja.
Koa Mitabe, Demba Truba Maris.
And it's Koa Mitaba, Demba Truba Maris. Koa Mitabati, that Demba Matrubi Tsuji, and Koa Mitaba. Midribes and Mizibayizang, Chebetam Malumade, Chebetam Malumazang.
So, in relation to the ultimate truth, then impermanent samsara is not something that which truly exists.
Yes, right.
Tandamla tene kwa mitaba de demba.
Tandamla de kwa mitaba ranshinji truba.
Demba tu mara.
Oh na. Demba truba maibala, demba truba matubala, demba truba sato panja dobi tsuji mitriba. Kasar panja dobi tsuji ani demba truba mitriba yinzang ani chebe tamalumare.
So since there is no like grasping at the true existence of samsara as being this samsara as being truly exists, since you don't have that, then you have not fallen into the extreme of nihilism.
Latini Yangalan Dewa Tapa Ranshinji Truba Asatu Mineba Sega Ranshinji Matruba Inzang Tapitamanoa.
And in relation to what is nirvana, seeing nirvana as being, intrinsically,
사도 미네베 사다바라시 주와 미네바라시 주와 미진베 답에 탐면로와.
So since one is not grasping at liberation as being something permanent and intrinsically existent, since one is not grasping it as such, so one has not fallen into the extreme of eternalism.
자나 군조라 때네 장주 선바 내가 소 안에 코합니다 말 내니 이겨와 렘바 뭐봐 오장 군소라 때에 장주 선바 내가 안에 가서 장주 선비 내가 소 코합니다 말 내니 이왕게 이겨와 렘바데 고나양 니제다 말론 게 왕게 이겨와데 이겨와 렘바데 미고바데 미증베 아니 추구 체베 탄 뭐는 말에 있어 그래서 추구 담보를 쏜다 군소라 때네
And conventionally, then bodhisattvas, even though they have temporarily, ceased being reborn in samsara due to karma and delusions, yet they have not ceased being born in samsara due to the power of compassion and power of prayers.
장주셔봐 아니 장주셔베 내가서 코합니다 벌레니지 왕게 겨와 렘바데 고그레스 고장스를 장주셔봐 레니 겨와 랭그 마데
So bodhisattvas then while as bodhisattvas then they have completely stopped rebirth in samsara, in impermanent samsara due to karma and delusions. And because they have not ceased rebirth in samsara brought on by the power of prayers and compassion, so that dharmakaya has not fallen into the extreme of nihilism.
아니 믿음에 추구 답이 다 말롱하래.
추구
답에 다 말롱아. 다 다자기 타니나 말롱아. 다진데 쳇에 다 말롱아 진짜. 단데데 답에 다 말롱아.
디얀조 코아케와 렘바데.
코이케와 쳇잠라 토비. 냥데 따바데 냥데 냥알레 대와 사람 저거다 코이제와 체삼라 되비 냥데데 아니 톱잘 체비 수지 믿음배 아니 추구 따바 다 말롱하래.
So by merely severing birth in samsara and not holding liberation as the objective of one's attainment is what is meant by not having falling into the not having fallen into the extreme of Dharmakaya's permanence.
Oh yeah, that Koanduji Narashi Chuba Satu Meba Tawa Cheta said 코와 제정 가자다와 니템비 체다 인지 지당 체다 많이 다 디비션 있어야 봐. 나 전에다 마 가서도 나 냥데 모습도 또비 체지 인지 탑 추구 시시 타다니와 담바니 다 냥알에 대와 무슨도 제비 아니 추지 인지 추지 관 추지 구스나 아니 가소래다 돈용 무슨도 대비 이세대 아니 시시 타단 차와 담바 테니
So the Dharmakaya, or the ultimate sphere of reality, which is the exalted knower, which has the direct realization of emptiness, is free from the extreme of samsara and nirvana.
Oh, tiki karasana, ten tambo, ani kowa, ten tambo kowa ni, kowa ranshinji matruba, kowa ranshinji matruba de, ani ranshinji nande.
So ultimately, because cyclic existence does not intrinsically exist, since since samsara does not inherently exist, then this is the natural this is the natural liberation.
Ani tendawi kowa ranshinji matruba de ngosumdo toba la tene, ani te komba tat komba kone yonsu drode, ani chima tata bambi, ani kasore chima tata bambi chini ma bamba tela minevi nyangale daba.
So this cyclic existence, which does not inherently exist, intrinsically exists, the direct realization of this, when one meditates upon it over a period of time, and when one sort of develops in this meditation, then this is what enables the abandonment of all the defilements, and then bringing forth the result of the non-abiding nirvana. So what is liberation? What is nirvana? Is when you have totally exhausted the defilements of the afflictions, totally exhausted it, then that is what nirvana is. So when we talk about natural liberation, then it is not the liberation as in the context of having totally exhausted the defilements of afflictions. It's not that. It's natural liberation refers to the samsara not truly existing.
Why
do we call samsara, which does not truly exist, as a natural liberation? It's because that is the dhammadhatu, that is the reality. So this samsara, which does not truly exist, in this emptiness, there is no contamination of the defilements of intrinsic existence, and so this is known as a natural purity.
That Minevinyade said the dead Lubuji Timana numbers Tata Sabana, Sirigala, Newmobi Driba Saba Mase, Shiji Dribala Sova, Driba Tata Sabana, Ani Minevinyanga Deva, said it, Ani Sishita Kandang, Tanida Travi, Minevinyanga della, Yandela, that this Anjaki Kogad.
So, what is the real liberation? The real liberation has to be that reality in which one has abandoned the totally exhausted the obscuration of delusions. As explained before, then the Shravaka Arhants, the Shravaka and the Pratyeka Arhants, nirvana with remainder, nirvana without remainder, the non-abiding nirvana, the non-abiding nirvana, meaning not only have you abandoned the obscuration of delusions, but you have also abandoned the obscuration to knowledge, the obscuration to omniscience. So, this kind of nirvana, which is beyond the extremes of samsara and nirvana, is what is possible only in the Buddhahood state.
Oh, in that there are such a cause. Tata said, Minevi Yangala Jabba Joba in the Ginjan Carrera Sana, Sishi Yamba need to Tobis, Sibatan Shiva, Yamba need to Toba Sana, only consules, she turned up a Madruva, Yamba need to Toba. Sishi turned up a Jova Tata and Trava, Yamba need to Tobi, Yishi, do not only Tobi, she is Sigwari. Yishi to combat Chevala. 아니 스바다 시위 타니가 넘바 미도바 전담바 시비 타 스바데바 추바 전담바 시위 타 냥데데바 추바 원니가 넘바 미도바라 네비 넘바 미도바 미네비 냥알레 데와 온도 체비치로 다 시시 타 시시 이게 타니가 다 자위 시시 타라 미네비
So, being free from the true extremes of both samsara and nirvana means realizing the equality, realizing the equality of samsara and nirvana. That that it is that samsara and nirvana is completely free from the elaborations of free from the elaborations of true existence, and realizing the equality is with respect to that the non-true existence of both samsara and nirvana, and one basically referring to that exalted wisdom, realizing emptiness. And when one meditates on this, becomes habituated to this, long meditates on this, then one attains one attains that liberation, which is without remainder. Shugute kansu namba gen. Toni tobe ishi de kumbala tene.
Kumbala tene sibada shivi tanigar namba metoba.
Namba metoba.
Sibada shivi tanigar sayade siba kwa damba chubada. Yangalan dewa damba nigar tanigar namba metoba.
Namba metoba. And so
namba metoba minevi yangalan dewa.
So when one long meditates on this, with this exalted knower, directly realizing emptiness, then one does not observe the true existence of both samsara and one does not observe the true non-objectifying, does not observe the true existence of both samsara and nirvana, and thereby attains the non-abiding nirvana.
Oh yeah, that digi zangda zangwa dang, dewa dang, daba dang, anen pe kasore parul chimba sere techini. That chanju semi jiji, ane toni dobi sherab tang, nyinji chimbo, ane ta chimbo de, ane sanje kisa yu chugi zawa demba. chugu tawa damba di mari.
So
tawa.
Yes.
Chugu toju tawa damba.
So this is what is the perfection of perfection of purity, bliss or happiness, and self and permanence. And so, the wisdom. What this denotes is that that the wisdom realizing emptiness and great compassion of a bodhisattva are the roots to establish the Dhammakaya of the Buddhahood state. So what brings forth the cessation of the extreme of samsara and nirvana are the wisdom realizing emptiness and great compassion. So it is this wisdom realizing emptiness and the great compassion that enables the cessation of samsara and nirvana, that makes makes it possible for the bodhisattvas to come closer to the attainment of the unsurpassable, peerless state of complete enlightenment. So it says, being freed of the great distance, being free from the great distance to the non-abiding nirvana means what creates the distance is when one lacks the method, and so being free from that kind of distance from the non-abiding nirvana.
All the that does each other wrong. They caress there's a taboo to do. I mean, de la Chanju Samba, Chanju Samba, Chansan Papa Ni, Chansan Papa Tamje, and the Samja Tamjala, Yawa Mare, Samja Tamjala, Yawa Mare, Midabada, Dunga so, Tonyo to be sheriff Simbi, Palanyata, Mabambichil, Sigo and Gatera.
Papa changes
Chanju Sambani,
pronounce Tamje, Simjan Tamjala, Yawa Maris.
Yawa Maindi Midabada, Dunga so that Tonyo to be sheriff G, Sibi Palanya Tata, Mabambichi, Chanju Sambati.
Yawa Maris can soul any.
Chanju Samba, Papa Ni, Chapa Meba, Samjan Tamjala, Yawa Maris. Samjan Tamjala, Yawa Maris,
to Simjan Tamjala, Yawa
Maris, to Tawasigra.
It's a what yours were Yamas.
Chanju Samba, Papa Ni, Chapa Meba, Samjan Tamjala, Yawa Maris, Samjan Tamjala, Yawa Maris.
Chaba Meva Nyawares. Chaba Meva Nyawares.
Yawa Maindi.
Nyawa Mayis. Chaba Meva Nyawarin.
Chaba Meba Nya. Chaba Meba Yawa Mari, Chaba Yoares.
All of the Arya Bodhisattvas are close to sentient beings in different ways. Keva Mewa Arya Bodhisattvas are, it doesn't mean that they are close to sentient beings without any kind of differences. Is that right? Keva Mewa Nyawa Maris. Keva So they are close to sentient beings in different ways. Oh, like that. That's okay. That's. It's not like they are close to sentient beings without difference. They are close to sentient beings in different ways.
미다바다 코유 동아서 돈용고순도베 셰럽지 시비 발라냐 타다 마밤이 칠스고 그살디. 미다바다 동아와 쏘다. 아니 돈용고순도도베 셰럽지 시비 발라냐스나 아니 코야 시비 발라냐스나 파자 타다 마밤이 칠.
군안서 인데 임백 용세 디르바.
어디
So why are the Arya Bodhisattvas, kind of close to sentient beings in different ways? It's because of because they have impermanence, because they have suffering, because of the direct realization to emptiness, and because of the imprints of samsaric existence. These are the reasons in which, for which they are engaged in being close to sentient beings in different ways. Not close to sentient beings. Chanju Samba Nam Semjela never membe.
Chanju Samba Papa ni Chebar Meba Samja Tamjela Yamares. Samja Tamjela Chebar Meba Yama in this.
Chebar Meba.
So you are there.
So basically, Arya Bodhisattvas do have the care for sentient beings, but they have the care for sentient beings not not without difference. It is with difference. So in order to cease the extreme of falling into samsara, what brings that cessation is due to the realization of emptiness. The realization of emptiness is what brings the cessation of the falling into the extreme of samsara, and so this is in relation to the ultimate truth.
전담라 때비 시시 탈라와데 돈이도비 셔럽 그 권나양 코르 제와 체잠진 아니 가소리 제와 체잠 가자다와데 가자다위 타데 아니 코르 제와 체잠진 봐 제와 거의 제와 체잠 가자다위 타르 송마데스 거의 제와 체잠진 냥데 튼도 예기 타르 송마데 가르고고 그래서는 닝제당 닝지왕고 고고레스 닝제당 몰음고 고고레
So from an absolute perspective or from an ultimate perspective, then what prevents the falling into the extreme of samsara is the realization of emptiness. And then just by merely severing, birth in samsara, having as objective the attainment of liberation alone, what severs this objective just is great compassion.
다시에게 섬제 탐제라 녀와 마인데라와 다양 섬제 탐제라 전주 선바 릉와양 마인데 니지 준비 섬제 탐제 섬제 대다 용수 미담이치 저와 니지 준비 권에 섬제 탄다 아니 저 니지 준비 아니 땅그 말에 대다
The Simchen Tamje, Chenju Samba,
ringwayang mayinde.
as the Shua Tanji, and Chenju Samba, Simchen La, and Nyewa Mayins,
Simchen Tamjela Chaba Meba Nyawa mayindes, Tajin Dach Gosaiba.
Nyewa Mayins.
Tatanda ringwayang mayindes.
So, bodhisattvas are not close to sentient beings without differences. Are not close to sentient beings without differences, and likewise, the Arya Bodhisattvas are not distant from sentient beings as well.
Ringwa mayinde.
Chenju Samba now, Simchen Tamjela, Keba Mewa, Nyewa Mayins, Ringwa Mayins,
ringwa mayinde.
Inshallah.
Niji Chimbugi, Zawanji Chimbi, Simchen Tamja, Tujan, Tangamaris.
They could not be distant from sentient beings because, the great compassion would not allow them to be distant from sentient beings.
Dana Tashi Chabajan Dini, Segala, Zawan Yinji Chimboda, and Tony Dobi, any sheriff day, Tashi Chabajan Dini, and Tony Dobi, sheriff Tigi, and Sibalamina, Sibik Talamina Wachawa. Niji Chimbo Digi, and Shivi Talaminavi, and Ransing, and Yandaba Zobi Sanje, just Tobi, and Tabre.
So, this extraordinary method and wisdom of a great compassion and the wisdom realizing emptiness, then is the wisdom realizing emptiness does not allow the Bodhisattva to fall into the extreme of samsara, and the method of the extraordinary method of the great compassion does not allow it to fall into the extreme of nirvana. And so therefore these two causes then is what brings forth the result of the perfect and complete state of the Dhammakaya of the Buddha.
Oh yeah. Top days, Midabata Tony Toby, Sherabji, and it changes some Chanson Papa, Sibi Pan, Chanson Papa, Sibi Palanya, Tata Bambe, Bangbena, Dala Pembidian Zoba Chipichir. Midabata Tony Toby, Sherabji, Chanson Papa, Sibi Palanya, Tata Bambe, Pembidian Zoba Chipichi. Nyandela Devi, Nyangalan Devi, Sambajan, Imbes, Rawa, the Chanju Sambati, Papa Deda, Ani Kasori, Sibi Manyam Palanyasana, Pacha, Maripi Pachati, Bangne, Ani Dala Pembi, turns over Chibi Chilis, Rani, Ani Rani la Pambaku turns over Chili, Nyangalan Devi, Sambajan, Imbes. Nyangalan Devi, Nanga Devi, and Yanda Tomdik, Manevi, Yanda Tomdik, Sambajare.
The Bodhisattvas who abandon, the imprints of samsaric existence, then, have the, are disposed to attaining liberation. Chenju Samba,
Midabara Tony to be Sherapki, the Chepabra Cherva, Chanju Samba, Papa, Sibi Palanya, Tata, Bambene, and then Dagi, Rangi, Dala Pembagi turn, Zoba Chibi. And then Yangalan Deva Sambajare, Yangalan Deva Toba to be Sambajare.
So the Arya Bodhisattvas who generate the realizations of impermanence, and the wisdom realizing emptiness, and who come to abandon the imprints of samsaric existence, who come to abandon it, then achieve the complete benefit for the self, and are intended towards attaining liberation.
Yegi Sibi Panyala Tata Bambe said 아니 방자 지리 바세바 방비 방바레마도 방자 세바 방비 tö마이 바리 그와 시비 방냐라 타다 방 펜방베스 방바 지리 바 타다 방 지리 바 타 방베 아니라라 펜바 데비조 펜비 tö 조바르 체비지 냥알레 대와 그 사바자레스
타다 방바 말레스
지리바 방비 tö레스
지르바스 칸데서
지리바스나
카셰시 So when we were talking about the bodhisattvas abandoning the imprints of cyclic existence, it's not in respect to abandoning everything that needs to be abandoned. It's it's in relation to like some abandonment of what needs to be abandoned.
아니 저원이 지금 그네 랑데 스버리 아니 삼신도 스버리 겨와람베 고네 아니 동아비 semjen 용수 아니 르 미당완네 아니 시안라 펜비치 아니 삼신도 코와 겨와렘바레
And with the mind of a great compassion, then they intentionally take rebirth for the benefit of suffering sentient beings, who they never forsake. Mentally, they never forsake the suffering sentient beings, and so they have that intentional rebirth in samsara.
라니 지보 아니 가서 냥알렌 대와기 고마트도 년간기 년력이 시와 주부지법이 전 신도 아니 냥알레 대비 사람 미나와레 다시 사람 미나와레 스과레
they do not abide in the extreme. Such bodhisattvas do not abide in the extreme of nirvana, which is to attain liberation for oneself alone.
So again,
the next point is showing that wisdom and great compassion are the root causes. Explaining these two as being the roots for the unsurpassable state of peerless enlightenment. So the verse that shows or explains that that wisdom and great compassion are the roots for the unsurpassable and perfect state of enlightenment is their analytical wisdom has cut all self-cherishing without exception, yet cherishing beings, those possessed of compassion, do not adhere to peace. Relying on understanding and compassionate love, the means to enlightenment, noble ones will neither abide in samsara nor in unlimited nirvana.
아니 달라 차비 세바 말류바 달라 차비 대장 세바 말류바 아니 미다바 도비 셰라당 아니 돈이 도비 셰랍지 세바제 제데 아니 코비 탈라 미네라 다세메지 셰랍지 제데
So their analytical wisdom has cut all self-cherishing without exception. Yet, what this refers to is that that the Arya Bodhisattvas has cut off all attachments of self-cherishing, due to generating the wisdom, realizing impermanence, due to the wisdom, realizing emptiness. So so they do not fall into the extreme of samsara.
아니 semjen si ji zenden shi do min si ga le ani semjen tamje la min ne dunga da chan de ji ani dunga ja cha de ji se bi chil ani zenden cha ju sem ba ani rani ji bo ani nyang de tön du nye we gi ani shi wi ta de la min ne ba.
And then the next line.
Chita thoba che ba mai ba.
Yet cherishing beings, those possessed of compassion do not adhere to peace, meaning the bodhisattvas, who are always cherishing sentient beings, so seek to free sentient beings, are always seeking to free sentient beings from suffering, and therefore therefore do not seek one's own individual liberation, or the peace of one's own nirvana.
So
so the second line is not falling into the extreme of nirvana.
Lo dang zewa si ga la dong ni do bi xie rab lo de dong ni do bi xie rab dang zewa de zewa ni ji qi bi du ba是吧 ani la na me ba chang ju on do che be ge ani ta shi ni wo de na kong ba che ba la de ne ani chang ju sem ba pa ba ga so ro kwam ba 군조라 되지 아니 가서래 시담 거기 탈라야 미네 군조라 되지 시위 탈라야 미네 로 시위 탈라야 미네 봐 코만 양알에 대비 탄뉴스 물통함 주로
So and then the last line, relying on understanding, meaning the understanding of the wisdom, realizing emptiness, and compassionate and compassion, love, great compassion, the means to enlightenment, noble ones will neither abide in samsara nor in limited nirvana. By meditating on such method and wisdom of realizing emptiness, method of great compassion, then the bodhisattvas, do not remain in the extreme of conventional samsara, nor in the extreme of conventional nirvana.
Oh yeah, 대다 로제 장주 다 되게 파져 줘요 맞아. 대다 로제 장주 아니 가서래 탑대네 파보 코와냥한 대민주로 세대기 다 된다지 탑시 송제 탐자원 돈이도 베셔라당 아니 저완이지 셴볼 오탑시 손제데 라나메 바차죠 오도 제베 그 안에 탑 콤발라 때네 아니 시시 탈라 미네비 군조다 되비 시시당 된다라 되비 시시 타 칸라야 만네비 아니 양알레 대와데 토고 토밤 시시 탈라 소마메요 바죠 그레스체
So due to the unified practice of such a method and wisdom of wisdom realizing emptiness and great compassion, then one attains the unspoilable state of enlightenment, which is free of the extremes of samsara, nirvana, conventionally and ultimately.
아니 돈이 모습도 또 비셔럽 되기 아니 달랐다네 아스바 코알라 미네바 저와 년지 전부 달랐다네 아니 시원 양대라 미네바 양대스를 가라 아니 지보 아니 통 연유가 저와 차점지 양대라 미네바 다티 지보 이말
And then the next stanza, if the Buddha element gengi di remindo. Yeah? Okay. I thought it was Mondogi. Taking a verse from Abhisamaya Alankara, then it says that with the knowledge of the understanding, meaning the wisdom realizing emptiness, then one does not abide in the extreme of samsara, and with the cherishing of the great compassion, then one does not remain in the extreme of nirvana's peace, which is the liberation, one's own individual liberation, being free of one's own karma and delusions.
Sita Goche, Sita Goche, don't you to be share of Sita Goche, Lasona. Bashila Chabadi, Junsa Mato Vietnam due to Sades. That is Papa number 3, Dedan, Lobby Singer Sambo, Nike, Koi, Sita Goche, Koi, Tony, share of La Cheguares.
Did those Digo Maris?
Oh, Bashila Chabadi. Don't you to be share of Bashila Chabadi.
So there's a presentation of a debate saying that from the point of view of some of the Buddhist masters like Haribhadra and Vimuktikena Sena, to say that that wisdom realizing emptiness alone is what what brings the cessation of samsara is not quite right. To attribute that wholly to the wisdom realizing emptiness is not right. Is a point of debate being presented. So in other words, they're saying the bodhisattvas, wisdom realizing impermanence, wisdom realizing the suffering, should be also appropriated as what brings forth the cessation of cyclic existence.
Koi Gyun Tong Vi Sherab La Shalas, Sita Goche de Koi Gyun Tong Vi Sherab La Shalas. Koi Gyun Tame Tunga de Tanya Bi Tame Tugure. Koi Gyun Tanya Bi Tame Toba Yinji, Tundam Jave Tame, Ane Koi Gyun Toba Mare.
This Susungore. This Sunyat.
Antonio Down Sungore that day. So the
what the commentary is answering is that that the two great Indian masters have explained of wisdom realizing emptiness as what wholly brings the cessation of cyclic existence, from the perspective that in stating what are the failings and the shortcomings of samsara existence, then from that to know what are the failings of samsaric existence, to comprehend that it's understood by utilizing a conventional wisdom. The mind analyzing the absolute does not allow the realization of the shortcomings of samsaric existence.
Oma Ranju Bagi Kasu, Koi Zawa Dancing Remado, and the Tony Dancing Koi Zawa Duguamari.
So the two Indian masters, Haribhadra and Vimuttasena, who are Swatantrika Madhyamikans, they designate that the root of samsaric existence is self-grasping, not grasping at the truth. Grasping at true existence, from their perspective, is the shizayins. Shizayins is the root of the basis, but not the root. Shiza is the root of the basis, but not the root. So what is the root of samsaric existence is the grasping at the self of a person. So to eliminate this root of samsaric existence, the grasping at the self of a person, then you have to realize that the determined object of this grasping is not there. You have to, when you realize that, you have to realize that the object of this grasping at the self of a person is not there. You have to in order to get rid of that. So it's saying that the investigative mind analyzing suchness is not able to recognize that root of samsara, is not able to recognize that this object of this grasping is not there. So in this system, then the root of samsaric existence is grasping at true existence, and so therefore the mind investigating the ultimate truth, the analytical mind investigating the ultimate truth, is able to recognize, determine the root of samsaric existence.
Oh yeah, that that debu dan leshaba say gala that debu de nasha namba chu na nangena ne ngo ju debu de ba that chu sar che.
So this completes the explanations on the result and the function, of the 10 points. Then the first 3 points of the nature, the cause, and the result has been finished. So we'll stop here, and the next is function.
Oh yeah. Guru Rana Mendra